everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good day. Hope you are all having an amazing day today. My name is Lex, and welcome back to some more GTA 5 where we're looking at the final new car added in the latest update slash DLC slash whatever the hell we call these things these days. And this is an interesting one. So the last three cars that we looked at have been sort of remakes from cars that existed in previous versions of the game, but sort of like brought to GTA 5 style quality and design, but otherwise just classic 80s style cars, or at least 80s, 90s style cars. This thing's different. This thing is a whole new thing. I'm not entirely sure if this is based on anything, but the shape is sort of familiar, as if I have seen this thing before. So maybe it is based on something I've seen, but I just can't remember what it's called. But this thing is called the Ruston, and it's a really cool looking race car. I don't know what Rockstar's thing is. Maybe they've got like a whole race series devoted to this car, but as a race car I think this is really cool. But I just want to shush for a second because I want you to just listen to this. Can you hear anything a little different? This might just be me being really paranoid, but I noticed this straight away, and I'm now not entirely sure if other cars suffer the same fate of sounds that this one does. But because this has no windscreen, it sounds to me that when you go faster, you get more wind noise, as if you were sitting in the car and you had all this wind noise. Let's listen again. Do we have that with other cars? I've never noticed this before until this car. So I can't tell whether I'm just being crazy and it's always happened, or whether this is a cool little detail that Rockstar have added. But nevertheless, we're going to be checking out this car in more detail, and then I'm going to do two different versions of this car. But before all of that, there's going to be some comments and questions on the screen. If you would like your comments and questions featured, you can leave them in the comment section below. I'll pick some out at random and feature them at the start of the next video. And don't forget, you can also follow me on Twitter at Figureight. Links for my Twitter are in the description below. Right, I did not mean to go to the airport. This was just sort of like random driving. This is where I've ended up. So I guess what I actually want to do is I want to go down here. Whoop, that was rough, but oh, that worked. And I'm going to go onto the airstrip this time and modify this one, because we haven't modified on the airstrip for a while. And we're going to be tuning this thing up right here. But before we do, we should probably check this out. So let's just go ahead and repair this thing. And let's just have a look around. So this is it's called the Hijack. The Hijack, it just says Hijack, but this is the Hijack Ruston. Very weird. This seems to be a whole new company as well. It's got a very strange front end. It's just a big, giant, gaping mouth with tiny little LED headlights, and then a tow hook down the thing here, and no windscreen. Actually, there is a windscreen. This thing. That's it. That's your windscreen. That's all you need. On the interior, if you could even call this an interior at this point, it's almost like just a blend of the exterior. We've got this massive, huge duct here. We've got these carbon seats with no padding, look incredibly uncomfortable. And then we have this sort of like really basic race-style switch thing going on the dashboard. Very, very simple. As you can see, it's also got the simplified racing-style speedo as well. Then we've got this little bit going here on the back, and then we have this very interesting light setup. Really like this shape on the side, actually. Sort of makes me feel sort of like McLaren style. I don't know. It just sort of looks McLaren-y on the side, but I don't know why. And then we have this bit on the back right here. Let me open up the hood and the bonnet if it will allow us to. Let's go ahead. Trunk. No trunk. Hood. No hood. Interesting. Right. Is there a way to glitch in? Okay, so there isn't actually anything in the back here. It's just that, and in the front, there's nothing in the front. So there are no engine bays. Oh, I have noticed those door cards, though. But there's no engine bay, and there's no boot. That's interesting. Okay, so let's just go ahead and go to menus, customs, right here. So we have the wheels. Now, the stock wheels are actually pretty cool. They work really well for this car. And I don't think we're going to get that level of sort of like color mixing in, and like sort of like the rim around the side and the color matching in the middle. So stock is perfect. Onto the spoiler. Well, we have nothing at the moment, but we then have the primary wing. Actually, let's go for a better angle on this one. There's the primary wing right there. Then we have the low-level spoiler, the GT wing. These seem to just be taken from other cars. The race wing, and then the high-level GT wing. And another one seems slightly different. Maybe we've seen that one before. That one actually really works for this car, I think, the high-level GT wing. So I'm going to go for that. That's really sort of thin and weird, but it just matches it really well. On the front bumper, hopefully we can get something that gets rid of this big, massive, gaping face. Oh, well, it's shrunk. It's now made it a big, gaping, happy face. So there's the stock. Then we have the vented one. Then we have the flared, which just makes it like a really devastated face now. This is a really expressive car. Then we have the Enticer bumper. And then we have the Velocious bumper? Velocious? That's a word I don't use often. Well, I think the Enticer is pretty cool. I think the flared one just looks too upset. The race one looks very happy. The Enticer one is sort of angry, actually. It's not unhappy, but angry because it's just wider. So I'm going to go for the Enticer on that one. This is probably going to be the extreme one. Actually, these might be two extremes because I think a subtle version of this just won't work because of just how extreme the car is anyway. So we'll do two different versions. Then on the rear bumper, we have the stock rear bumper. We have carbon diffusers, which is instantly better because I'm not really into those sort of shiny things going on down the bottom there. So this diffuser is so much better. Then we have no diffuser at all. It says secondary diffuser, but that's okay. It's still a diffuser, but it's not sort of that separate style one. Not entirely sold on this one. Then we have the tuner version. Oh, interesting. Then we have the vented. That's interesting. I am sort of going towards the tuner on this one, actually. It's an interesting look, but I think the tuner works because we're going to make two different versions of this, so I think as a different style, that's okay. Then onto the skirts, we have the stock, then we have the low level, which is just that tiny little bit at the back there. Then we have the carbon one, then we have the high level carbon, the carbon GT skirt. These are all sort of very carbon. Then we have the custom vented. Let's make this one sort of like the custom vented sort of extreme one. Then we'll sort of tone it back, but still sort of cool look afterwards. So we'll go with that one. Then onto the exhaust, we have the stock. Then we have the titanium twin angled, which is going to look horrible. It does. Won't even bother with that one. Dual chrome tip in square. Then we have the single one. Then we have the sort of like larger, sort of like melded double titanium one right there. I'm going to go for that one right there because I think that looks really cool. Then we have chassis. Okay, this is where the roll cage comes in. So we have the stock. Then we have the half cage. It's a little bit too much actually now. The street cage. Oh, this is really adding a lot of body to it. Then we have the race cage, and then we have the track cage. I really like how this looks without it. Okay, let's make this one a street one. This is the street look. Then we'll have the race look. I think that's what we're going to do. So there's our street one right there. In fact, that might mean... Should we change the spoiler to something a little bit more straight? There we go. There's the street one. Like that. Maybe we'll change the rear bumper to that one. That's street. And then the front bumper, I think this one's actually the best one for street. Actually, that one's a better street one, so we'll go for that one. Then we have the grille right here, so that's going to be the splitter on the front. Okay, that's just the splitter bit. So we have the stock splitter, then we have this larger carbon one with the sort of pole things. What are these things that hold it? They're just holdy thingies. Inset, then we have the pointed, then we have the angled. Okay, if we want to have this sort of like straight looking one, then either that one, or actually they're all sort of, yeah, let's just keep the stock one on that one. Then onto the hood, we have the stock, then we have, it looks exactly the same. Am I going nuts? That's the same. Oh no, I see it. There's that little step up there that you can see we were at the wrong angle. So we have that one, then we have the double version, then we have the ram air hood. Ooh, and then we have the drop one like that. So I think, as something subtle, we can go for the custom instep, and that is the standard look. I think that's really nice. And then it's just a case of upgrading everything. I don't know why I do this, because we don't drive it much afterwards. And for this one, I'm going to keep it in yellow, because I think this is perfect as it is, and there's no extras, so it's just a case of turbo, and that one is done. So this is our street one all done. I think this looks awesome. I was a bit unsure on that rear bumper to start with, but I've been sold on it now. I think that looks great. So let's pull in over here and then spawn in another one and make something that is the more race-inspired version. Okay, here we are. And I've already forgotten how much this is different. That one that we just made is different to what we originally get as we spawn this in. There are so many different combinations that we can make this car look in. This is really cool. I'm actually really liking this car. Although I do think the rear of this one is better than the other one. So, right, let's go back to menus customs. We'll definitely be changing the colour because I'm not too sure on that blue there. But it's nice that we have the blue accents as well on the wheels. but we will be changing the colour on this one. So on customs, we'll keep the wheels again because I think the wheels are absolutely great. Or maybe as this is a race one, should we make this one more racy? Let's see. Let's go for... Mind you, these are all a bit lame, aren't they? Actually, no. We could go for something like the Oozer. I mean, the Oozer could sort of work. It's this one's got like the multi-spoke sort of thing going. This one's sort of a bit more tuner and racy. Maybe that'll work. We'll actually go with that, and I'll change the wheel colour to something maybe a bit brighter. Something that's not frost white, actually. Where's the alloy colour? What do we have as if we have default? Default's just a little bit too dark for me. I guess we don't have that many options. Let's go for frost white then on those wheels right there. So let's go for the spoiler, and I want to go ahead and use the high-level GT wing for this one again, because I really liked how that wing looked. Mind you, the race wing's not bad, but I don't like that overhang. I really like how this one looks, so let's go for that one. Then we have the front bumper, where I'm going to go for the... we could go for the enticer again, or we can go for the... The thing is, I don't like this bit here. I don't like that bit there, so I can't go for that one. So I think we'll go for the enticer one on this one. Then we have the rear bumper, where we can go for the... I think it's the vented rear bumper. Yeah, that's sort of cool. It's got the nice little diffuser going on, but it's nothing too crazy. Mind you, that one is better. Actually, that one is more extreme, so I'm going to go for that one. On the skirts, we can go for the just the larger, high-level carbon one right there, or the GT one, because we get that a little bit on the front. Yeah, let's go for that one. Then on the exhausts, we can go for the dual chrome tip. Yeah, I think that dual chrome tip is looking pretty nice. Then we have on the chassis, we have... Right, so this is where we're going to pick the cage for this one. So we have the half cage, we have the street, we have the race, we have the track. I'm going to go for the track cage on this one, but I really don't like how it looks with the cage on it. I'm not entirely sold on it. It looks a bit like a dune buggy when you stick that on, and it just doesn't look right. Maybe we'll go for the race cage. It's got a really weird bend to it. You don't normally see bends on cages, do you? Either way, interesting look. I'm still more into it without the thing, but for the sake of having a different theme on this build, we'll go for it. On the splitter, I'm going to go for that big sort of angled carbon one right there, or maybe this one. Let's go for the carbon one, the carbon angled one, and just make it crazy. Then on this one, I want to go for the drop vented or the double vented. Actually, the double vented is just really extreme looking. I like that one. And then that's it. That's all of that done. So it's just a case of upgrading the engine for no reason, because it doesn't actually matter, because I don't really race these things. And then it's just a case of changing the paint. Actually, do we tint the windows? Oh, we can tint the window. Well, why not? We've got a little bit of window. Let's tint it. Why not? Right, let me pick in a different colour for the paint. Okay, so I'm actually feeling of going for the shafter purple. It's an interesting purple that we don't really go for, but it's got a nice little flip to it that for some reason I'm just feeling for this one. So we go for this one, and I mean, maybe we can go to pearlescent and just change the colour again. Yeah, what about that red? That's different. I mean, I still really like the yellow one, so I slightly care less about this build, so I'll just make this as crazy and as different as possible. And then on the secondary, I don't think there is anything. Ah, that's the colour of the frame. Ah, so we can make that shafter purple as well. Oh, right. So that makes it slightly more blended in. That's not too bad when you consider that. It's an interesting colour, actually. I'm just going to keep this colour. And then that's that one done. That's that one done, apart from the wheels. I'm going to go ahead and change these wheel colours again and make them just dark. Or maybe we'll match them with a purple. Shafter purple. No. Midnight purple. Midnight purple works. It's dark enough. There we go, we've got a very purple looking Ruston. So there we go, there's the two Rustons. We have this very strange one on the right, and then we have what I think is my favourite right here on... If I do it this way, then I can say the right again. There's that one on the left, which I think is my favourite one. You can let me know in the comment section which one you prefer. Maybe you prefer both, or well, maybe you like both, maybe you don't like any of them. Maybe you'd have done something different. You can let me know in the comment section below. And actually, can I just apologise, because this video may have started to go a little bit orange towards the end. I always forget this when I record in the afternoons and the evenings about my flux things, so I apologise for that. But as we are now at the end of all of the cars that we added in the latest update, I would love for you guys to let me know in the comment section which car of this update was your favourite. For me, I really liked the GP1 tuning, because it just had so many options for it. But I don't know. I like how this one looks in the yellow, as just because it's something different that we haven't really had much in this game. So I'm going to say this one, but my first build is probably my favourite. But do you know what? They've all been really great cars in this update. I think Rockstar have done a great job, especially on the interiors. They've really started to ramp up the interiors this time. I just noticed that colour actually continued on into the interior. That's pretty cool. Well, there we go, guys. That is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you all next time. Goodbye.